Welcome to Haunted Escapes with Chris and Diane.
This podcast will talk about strange and mysterious stories from around the world.
Some will be about places we've been and experienced for ourselves,
as well as things we've learned and read about, including hauntings, folklore, and cryptids.
Join us on our Haunted Escapes.
May we please come in?
Welcome to Haunted Escapes with Chris and Diane.
Hello.
Today's episode, we're going to be featuring stories all about black-eyed children.
Yes, as you know, these creatures are ones like clowns that creep me out the most.
Yes, Diane is very scared of these black-eyed children, so she did all the research on this one, so she will be taking the reins on this story, and I'm just going to be here for background.
Well, what about you? What do you think they are? Do they freak you out?
Yeah, they're definitely weird. All the stories are always really weird.
I know you told me a story a while ago about how I think you said Ryan saw those children playing up on the hill late at night.
Yeah, that was when years ago, I lived at my old apartment. I was like in my 20s, and Ryan had come over that night, and he had been inside late at night. He says that he saw it looked like a couple kids on hill. I don't know if that was black-eyed children because they were kind of far away and you couldn't see it, but it was really late, and the fact that kids were out that late, the fact that the kids were out that late was kind of a weird thing, so it might have been them, who knows, but they are definitely one of the creepier creatures out there.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in some research on the black-eyed children. So if they came to your door, would you answer it?
No.
I wouldn't either. Okay, so the black-eyed children are, as the name says, what they appear to be, children. But no one really knows what they are. They usually travel in pairs and range between 10 to 16 years old, with one being older than the other. They have coal-black eyes that they attempt to hide under long hair or hoodies. Have you ever seen a kid with jet black eyes?
Nope.
What would you do if you saw one?
I don't know. That would be kind of freaky. It's weird. It's not natural. They don't even have whites in their eyes, right? Isn't
Nope.
it just all black?
All black. All the irises, the pupils, everything.
Yeah, that's weird.
And since nobody knows exactly what they are, it reminds me of how when they say that a demon impersonates a human, they always say that they always get one thing wrong. Like, they might manifest themselves as a little girl, but they'll have a clawed foot or a hoofed foot, or there's
black eyes.
Yeah, black eyes. It's said that once you look into their eyes, some people can get kind of hypnotized, while others look away almost immediately in fright. They appear mostly at night and knock on the door to your house or car and request entry inside. They are said to give off bad vibes because people, as well as animals, feel very uneasy around them. It's reported that they may have some kind of psychic ability that they use to try to convince you to let them inside. They may also have the ability to speak to each other telepathically, as they tend to stare at each other for long periods of time. They also give off some form of radiation or electric field around them, as lights usually flicker in their presence, or sometimes the power just goes out altogether when they're around. One story goes that a woman let the children into her home, and she has since had nosebleeds and was diagnosed with skin cancer.
Wow. No, I definitely ain't letting them in.
Well, that's the thing. It's because they appear as children, so they appeal to you, because you always want to help a kid out.
Yeah.
They appeal to that feeling in you, so to gain sympathy so they can get inside.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of stories about people who have let them in. We'll go over that later. But usually when they show up at the door, it's like a lot of people said that they almost get hypnotized into almost opening the door, but then they come to their senses and no, you're freaking me out. I'm not letting you in.
So it's kind of like when you have a ghostly thing happen where I guess your gut just will tell you something's going on, and you just eventually snap out of it, and you'll, if it's a ghost or something, you'll look behind you because you'll get that feeling something's there, or something's looking at you. And if you're walking down the street at night and you start feeling angsty, it's probably the same type of feeling.
So again, there's not many reports from people who have let them in, and if you tell them to leave, they usually do without a fuss. However, there are reports that they tracked people down even though those individuals moved miles away. Could you imagine that? Having a black-eyed kid show up at your house and just being like, whatever, I'm out of here, and then move like to California only to have them show up on your door again?
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
When they speak, they often have limited vocabulary, saying, "We need to use your phone to call our parents," or "Maybe please come in." Despite their black eyes and limited speech, sometimes they say things that don't make much sense, such as, "Can I have some ketchup for my apple?" or "I need to use your bathroom to make a call." The first published story of an encounter with the black-eyed children was back in 1996 when Brian Bethel, a writer in Abilene, Texas, published his story in a paranormal mailing list. Since then, people have spoken up about sightings going back to the 1950s. So Brian's story goes, he describes a late evening out in his vehicle. He had stopped in a parking lot near a movie theater to write a check. Do you remember writing checks?
Yeah, I know, right?
I think we do still have a checkbook, but we hardly ever use it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Most people, it just goes to your debit accounts.
So he was so absorbed in this that he didn't notice two young boys approach his car. He didn't notice until the older boy tapped the driver's side window. Bethel rolled down his window and noted immediately a soul-racking fear, though he couldn't understand why. The older boy said that he and his brother wanted to catch a movie, but had forgotten their money at home. Could Bethel give them a ride? They assured him that it wouldn't take long. They were just two kids, and that they didn't have a gun. That's another thing that comes up with them a lot, that they try to reassure you that look, we're just kids, just let us inside to get your food.
That's not fishy.
That's not sus, as the kids say.
Seriously. Kid's gonna come out here, I'm just a kid, see? No.
Bethel found the assurances unnerving and noted that the last showing of the film they wanted to see had already started and would be nearly over by the time he could drive them anywhere and get back. In his recount of the incident, he stated that he broke eye contact with them, his fear becoming all-encompassing, and it wasn't until he broke eye contact that their eyes became completely blacked out. The older boy began to get frustrated when Bethel made excuses for not giving them a ride and said that they couldn't get into the car unless Bethel said it was okay.
See, now that's like vampire lore. In vampire lore, they can't come into your house or into your property or anything without you inviting them in, saying it's okay. So I wonder if that's what they are.
You think they're vampires?
Who knows? I know sometimes they think that they're like aliens and stuff like that, but I don't know. It's weird.
After that, Bethel tore out of the parking lot. To this day, he still stands by his story. Now it brings about again what they could possibly be, like you said, that they could be aliens. There's one story that goes, it's an older couple and they let the two children into their house. I think it's two boys again. There's an older couple and they let the two kids into their house. They have them sit down on the couch and they supposedly came in to use the phone. And the one older boy goes to use the phone, and then he comes back and he says that their parents are on their way. And then all of a sudden the lights go out and the younger boy asks to go in to use the bathroom. So after he goes and uses the bathroom, I guess he's gone a while, and the older lady goes to look for him, and she finds him in the bathroom, just out of the bathroom, kind of just standing in the hallway, just staring at them. And they had two cats, and once the two kids came in, the cats were really freaked out and they ran away and hid. And about 15 or so minutes later, a car pulls up in their driveway, the lights come back on, and the kids are like, okay, well, our parents are here. The couple follows them out of the house. They see two tall beings, two humans, standing at the car, and the kids are walking down to the car, and the lady goes and waves at the car to just be like, hey, it's all right, I had them here, they're fine. And the humans, the people in the car just stare at them, and then they drive away. About a couple days later, they find both of their cats deceased, and the older man, he starts feeling unwell, and he goes to the doctor, and he has cancer.
Oh, Jesus.
And then the woman, I believe, she's not feeling well either, and she goes to the doctor, and she has some kind of radiation burn on her.
Oh, wow.
So that's another story of letting them into the house. They didn't kill anybody, but they left the people with cancer and radiation and their pets dead.
Huh. Messed up.
So, another story I found about people who had let the kids into the house. This story is from Anonymous, and it goes, I have read many accounts of these black-eyed kids, but I don't think any really come close to what happened to me. When I let 2 into my house, some people think that if you let them in that they will kill you. Obviously, I can say that this is not true. This is what happened. I was sitting in my bedroom at home when I heard a knock on the door. It was not too late, so I didn't hesitate opening the door to whoever it was. When I opened it, there were 2 children standing there. Both were looking at the floor. Yes, I said. The taller one asked if they could come in as they were lost and the other boy needed the toilet. I live in an area where it is very easy to get lost, so I just assumed that they were telling the truth and was looking down because they were shy, even though the one talking spoke very confidently. So I let them in. The one who needed the toilet just walked in and straight up the stairs, so I shouted up, "It's on the right." I don't know why I didn't find this strange, but most toilets are upstairs, and as he was young, I didn't think anything of it. I told the other one that the phone was down the hall. "Thanks," he said, and he started to walk down the hall. I followed him, and then I suddenly came over with a really awful feeling like something bad was going to happen. I became very nervous and a bit shaky. I still can't explain how that happened. The boy stopped at the phone and paused. "Everything okay?" I asked. He turned to me and looked up, and that's when I saw his eyes. And trust me, I will never get that picture out of my head. I was so scared that I couldn't even scream. As I turned to run down the hall, the other kid was standing at the end. I became very dizzy and struggled to stand up. He walked closer to me and said that they had been sent to collect me. Still couldn't bear to look at his face. I pushed away from him and ran into my front room and slammed the door shut. I was in so much shock about what was happening I couldn't think straight. This is something that you don't even expect to happen, even in movies. After standing against the door for around an hour or so, I finally got the courage to make a run for the back door, so I ran to it and unlocked it. I ran to the back of my garden and jumped over the fence, not once looking back. My friend lived close, so I ran to his house. I told him the story, and as I guessed, he was a bit skeptic about what I said. I convinced him to come back with me, and when we got there, we looked around the whole house but couldn't find them. Ever since this happened, I always have a dream that these kids with the black eyes stand over my bed with their hands stretching to me. I hope to God that I never see these kids again. So what do you think of that?
That's pretty cool.
What do you think about them coming to collect her?
Yeah, that's weird.
What do you think they were collecting her for?
See, that fits in with the whole "is it an alien" thing.
Uh-huh.
But why would the kids come and do it when if it's an alien? Can't they just like beam me up? That's what all the other stories say. The aliens just like beam me up.
I don't know. See, that one, since they came to collect her, they were watching her. They know who she is.
Yeah.
And they needed her for something or wanted to use her for something.
Interesting.
That one I'd never heard that one before, and it was posted on a forum, and I'll link it down below. I never heard this story before, and I thought it was really interesting that they had come to collect her. I've never heard that one before. I've heard about them leaving people with, cancer and radiation, unfortunately.
I heard the car story before.
Yeah, but since then, the internet has exploded with people far and wide sharing their tales of terror with the black-eyed children. And that's the story of the black-eyed children. I hope they never come to my house. If they're listening, do not come to my house ever, ever. I will never let you in.
Yeah, I've heard the stories of them, obviously, and there was one story I had heard. It was a person on like a second floor apartment, and they had like a balcony that had a sliding glass door. Mm-hmm. And it was late at night, and it was a college kid or something, and they were like home studying, and all of a sudden they had it, like the lights were like flickering, and the lights like started to like go out. Mm-hmm. And the person went to look out the door because there was like an electrical box across from there, wondering if something had hit it because there was a storm outside. Mm-hmm. They look out there, they don't see anything, but then out in the distance they see what looks like somebody standing down looking up at their house.
Nope.
And then like they walk away and they're trying not to get freaked out, and then next thing you know like, again, the lights are flashing and the lights go out, and they go, like, they're sitting across from the door, and like a flash of lightning, and they see this kid. These kids are two kids again. It's always two. And they're standing outside on the balcony, knocking on the sliding door.
No, I will grab a bazooka. I will go Rambo. I will... No. You are not knocking on my door. If you knock on my door, you're getting blown to bits. If you have black eyes. Everybody else is okay.
Oh yeah, I heard that one. And like, she's sitting there, and they bang on the door, they're knocking, and obviously she gets freaked out.
Yeah.
So she, like, gets real quick, and she goes and she, like, asks what it is, what they're doing there, what they want. And it's always the same thing. They wanted to come in, they want to use the phone, they want to get away from the storm. But she just doesn't understand how they got from the ground floor up to her second floor balcony.
Oh.
Just like that, and then they're knocking doors.
Did they jump?
Well, that's
Did
the thing.
teleport?
She doesn't know what happened, so she just pulls.
Pole vault?
Yes, they pole vault. She just grabs the curtain and she just shuts it. And then she, like, runs back over to her chair, and she's sitting there, and now the lights are all out because the storm has knocked out the electricity. And she's sitting there, and she can see on the other side of the doors, like, the curtain, and she can see the shadow of these two kids.
Nope.
And they keep knocking, they keep asking for her to let them in.
I will call the FBI. I will call SWAT. I will call the police. I will not let you in.
And then, like, she said that it, like, lasts for a good while, and then all of a sudden it just, like, snap of a finger, and the lights come back on,
and they vanish.
And they're gone. Yeah, they're gone. So that's one of the stories I've heard about them. But there's tons of stories about these black-eyed children, and I hope that I never run into them. And if I ever do, they're not getting in my house. Call someone for you. Give me your phone number. And I'll call and tell them to come get you, but I ain't letting them in. That's a cool story. I know that's, like, they're a big thing, too. And then I also heard that, like, once you talk about them and you listen about them, that they can find you, so...
Shut up!
You might have just given us away and everybody listening.
No. Everybody, lock your doors and windows.
Don't let no kids in who have black eyeballs.
Yes. Hide your kids, hide your wife.
So that'll do it.
And your pets, too.
Yes. Yeah. Poor cats. So that does it for the Black-Eyed Children story for this week.
Yes.
Next week we should be back, and we'll have another one. We're talking about doing some vampire type story, and then I've had a couple people ask me when we're getting back to ghosts and stuff. So followed by the vampire one, we'll do another ghost episode.
I love ghost stories.
Yep. And that reminds me, we'll be starting another podcast that will be branching off of this, and it's going to be called My Scary Stories with Chris and Diane. And it's going to be original stories that we're going to be writing, and we're going to put them on the podcast, and they'll be read. We'll read them out. And most of them are going to be fiction, but there might be one or two that are going to be thrown in there that will be
True accounts
that, like, things that we've happened or that we've seen, stuff like that. But it's mainly going to be for fictional stories. So yeah, we're going to be starting that. I'm hoping within a week or two. We're just getting ready to set up the new page and everything for us. It's all going to be under the Penepic Productions, and it's going to be, again, it's called My Scary Stories with Chris and Diane. I hope that everybody who's listening to this will start listening to that one as well. Again, that one's just going to be kind of made-up fictional stories. I hope that you guys listen to it, and thank everybody again for listening to this, because this was the last episode for season 2. Mm-hmm. So we'll be doing season 3, and then we'll be doing the new My Scary Stories. So hopefully everybody who's listening continues to listen, and thank you for just, listening to us and letting us continue to do this. It's a lot of fun. We like telling stories. And we also have merchandise.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have merchandise on TeePublic. We have hoodies, shirts, cell phone cases, mugs. We have that on TeePublic. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm still working on setting up a Twitter account and our Facebook page. That's where I mostly post everything. We're also on YouTube, but I mostly post everything on Facebook. That's where to go to get the main information, but I'll try to start posting more information on the other ones also. And when we do release the new podcast, I'll be able to post, I'll post everything on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of them.
Yeah, so the new podcast, like I said, we're going to hope in a week or two we'll be able to get that started. We're still going to be doing the Haunted Escapes as well, but our goal eventually, I would love to have a bunch of different things branching off of this. So we start with Haunted Escapes, then I would do my scary stories, and then I want to eventually get into like fantasy stories and things like that, and just kind of a bunch of different things that people can listen to that'll cover all different genres, not just horror. So I hope everybody continues to listen and follow us on Spotify and all the other podcast channels. And also, if you could, it'd be great if you like listening to the stories, just give us some star reviews. And so thank you for listening to everything, and once again, thank you for joining us on our Haunted Escapes.
Yes, we put a lot of work into our stories, and if you think we've earned it, we would love to have a 5-star or a 4-star or however many star on Spotify you think we deserve. And we hope we have big plans on the horizon. We hope everybody stays with us. It should be a lot of fun.
Yes, we are also going to be hoping that we can do Patreon pretty soon, add stuff to it, so yeah, we'll keep you guys all up to date as we continue to grow everything. So thank you everybody again, and have a good evening or day, and I hope you tune in next time.
Bye everybody. I just want to say again, black-eyed children, stay away. Bye.
Bye-bye.